Doug Drauch. I'm the lead engineer for the Global Battery Systems Lab, and I'm going to be discussing a little bit about a computer program called LabMinder and a little bit on global collaboration. If you remember the speeches going on in the auditorium, the lab is designed to run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have personnel working in the lab only during first shift during the week. That leaves evenings, weekends, and any holidays where no one is in the lab. That's where LabMinder comes in. LabMinder watches all the testing going on in the lab. It looks for specific parameters to keep track of what's happening. If there's an issue that occurs, LabMinder has an auto dialer, so it can call out, let people know something has to be looked at. There's 4 people on a list. They get called. We're all on rotation. It will give a verbal announcement as to where the error occurred and the generic type of error. So we have a little bit of information to work with. From that, we can determine what has to happen next. We can log into LabMinder from anywhere in the world. This is on the web, and it will come up and give us this screen right here first. This is just a brief summary of what's going on in the lab. You have the different test cells numbered. Scroll down to see the other half. But from this, you can see if the cell is actually online, available for testing, if it's actually running testing, and if there are any issues with that particular test. If I need to get more information, I can click up here on the test cell name, and it pops up a window giving me more details on who's running the test, the type of test. If there were any errors, they would show up down in these 2 boxes right here. If I need additional information, even after looking at that, I can go to iCentral. This is where all the data from the testing eventually ends up, and it is also on the web. Now I'll get more into that a little later. But from here, it gives a very detailed picture of all the testing that's happening in the lab. Key voltages, temperatures, how many amp hours have run through it, how many kilowatt hours have run through it. So it gives you a little bit more information, just that brief screen. If that isn't enough, I can actually see what's going on in the lab. I have webcams based at key points throughout the labs, both sides, so I can see what's going on at the different test cells. Given all this information, I can decide whether to handle it remotely, because there are some things we can do over the web, or if it requires someone to actually physically go into the lab to take care of the issue. Now, talking a little bit about iCentral as being the repository for all our data, there's quite a bit of information generated with the testing that we run in the lab. You can see right over here in a little storyboard, when the lab's 100% utilized, we generate a little over 45 gigabytes of data per day. In real-world terms, that's about 10 full-length movies on DVD per day. So that's quite a bit of information. And iCentral gives us the ability to filter through that data to speed up our analysis. Instead of going through the full 45 gigabytes of data, you can ask it for specific key parameters, and it will filter through all that data and give you just that information. So it speeds things up quite a bit. Now, how this works in with global collaboration is it is also available on the web, meaning any of our remote partners can get access to this data with permissions, since it is locked down. And with that, I can switch over here now. We have a couple of our partners online with a video conference right now, and first is Honey Eye Falls with Mr. Ted Gray. If you could introduce yourself and give a brief description of your involvement with GM's battery development, please.
Yes, hi, I'm Ted Gray, and I'm here in Honey Eye Falls, New York, and this is GM's Fuel Cell Development Center. We have a group here that supports the battery program with design engineering, process engineering, and CAD model support. We also do the prototype development builds here for the sections within the battery, and we're really glad to be part of the battery program.
Thank you very much. The other partner we have online is University of Michigan, Dr. Myung-Gu Park. If you could please introduce yourself and give us a brief description of your involvement with GM's battery development.
Yes. Good morning. My name is Myung-gu Park, and I work with Professor Sastry and the rest of the team at the GMUM ABCD laboratory. We are designing computational models based upon understanding of fundamental principles and materials behavior to control batteries for vehicles.
Thank you. That's pretty much the end of the presentation. Now we're open for questions for me or either of the remote locations. Have any?